final session together, and this is growing your online commerce footprint. If there's one thing that's been taught to us in the past year, it's very important to have online commerce for business, especially small businesses, when you can't have customers in your store. So if you're taking advantage of this, why are you not? If you're taking advantage of it, you're taking full advantage of it, and how do you work on growing this to work for your business? So I'll go ahead and turn this over to Rick. If you want to say a few words, Rick, hang on 1 second. I'll turn my mic off and let you turn yours on.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, this sprang out of a conversation at our last meeting. Actually, someone asked a question at the end about e-commerce platforms. In particular, brought up Shopify, which is a very dominant one in WooCommerce. You know, why would you go in the different directions? How would you pick these out? And so I'll just kind of start with, what a little bit about e-commerce. First of all, e-commerce, we tend to think it's exploded, but it is continuing to explode at 6% a year growth. And it does allow, especially you think about Gadsden, Alabama, it's fun to do business all over the place. As our business really lends itself to digital. I love working here in town, but we also have opportunities to work in other states and other places. Recently finished a project in California, had a few down in Columbus, Georgia, working on one in Atlanta now, as well as what we do a lot of business in Birmingham and here in Gadsden and the surrounding areas. When you start to reach out, when you start to go outside of your area, it gets a little bit competitive. You find new people to compete against. That compels you to be better and better and better. So I would urge anyone in Gadsden, downtown Gadsden, reach out. Take on that challenge of going outside of your area and growth. It's a wonderful opportunity for you. We have a lot of wonderful stores that could really benefit by e-commerce, but how do you take advantage of that? The first thing is to do a good assessment of where you're at. Shopify is great. Will, and I talked about it. He likes Shopify a lot. It is a fantastic way to go if you're technical. It can be good if you have strong technical abilities, but it can also be good if you just want to build a store, template it out, and get it out quickly. Shopify is designed to lower that barrier of entry. Now, if you have a web developer like ourselves and you're already using WordPress, it is to your advantage to use WooCommerce. So that's really the biggest difference. The nice thing about WooCommerce to a developer is that you do not have to, there are no limits. Whatever you need to do, if you have some developing ability, you can work with the code there. Prior to Shopify, Magento has done real well, but Shopify is really eating into Magento's market share, mainly because Magento is designed for an extremely technical person. As a programmer, I did several Magento sites years ago, and it's very technically oriented. So you don't want to go that way unless you do have a developer. So I hope that makes sense. The biggest difference really in making a choice there is if you want to do it yourself, I would head towards Shopify. That's not saying you can't find developers who do Shopify as well, but it really lends itself. If you already have a WordPress site, I would recommend you go to WooCommerce. So some of their market shares, which I always like to look at, Shopify in the United States has 23% market share. That's really strong. Another one is Wix Stores, which has a 13% market share. Wix, again, is something very easy for people to build themselves. You'll run into limitations, you'll run into things you can't do. Oftentimes we do get people come to us from Wix because they just ran into barriers of things. Hey, I want my store to look like X, Y, Z. Yes, you're going to find some limitations there. Same true with Shopify. But what you do get is a very streamlined experience that will allow you to do an awful lot yourself. So you just have to balance that out. Squarespace is another good one. I tell you one thing I really like about Squarespace is their integrated point of sale stuff. If you're running a store downtown, I'd urge you to put Squarespace on your radar. Why? Because they have a terrific product that integrates with your iPad, that lets you run your store from there as well as have an online store. So Squarespace should be on your list, as well as WooCommerce that we've mentioned. But it's not just enough to make that decision. I would put those four on your list: Shopify, Wix, Squarespace, and WooCommerce. They all have their place. But one commonality to all of those is that once you build it, it's not just enough to put it out there. There's an extreme competition once you do that. And I'm going to introduce you now to Glenn Ingram with Spectrum Reach, who I have seen work wonders with driving traffic to sites, getting people business, allowing you to step out of this area. You can, and actually draw customers in from wherever your natural area is. But rather than step on his toes, I'll let him go ahead and explain that.
Thanks, Rick. Well, hopefully you've already spoken with Rick, and you've got a great website, or you're in the process of having that website built. But you need to look at your website as truly today's front door for your business. And once you've realized that the website is the front door to your business, you need to ask yourself the next question is, who are you inviting in? In today's typical household, you might have a TV going on, it might be somebody watching something through streaming, someone could be on a laptop, on online video, someone might be on the smartphone, Google searching. So there's a lot of different ways you can reach out and touch someone, but once they visit your website, really what happens is, analytically, that there will be one visit to your website, but you need to ask yourself, what is the story that got that person to your website? Because it's really a lot more complex than just one visit to your site. A lot of things may have happened or could happen. Was there a branding campaign run? Was there an ad that ran that told people about a product or service that you have available, and that piqued their interest? Did they see an online video that they clicked on that took them to a specific landing page to learn more about something that you have to offer? Was it a search campaign that you're running? So when they saw the ad about your product, when they went online and typed in several different keywords, your business came up front and they clicked on that ad and went again directly to your website. So there's a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration. When you see that one hit on your website, there's a much bigger story behind that. Some of the different platforms that you can use to help promote your retail landing page is through a branding campaign, whether that's TV, cable, streaming, online video. There's different ways you can tell people about what you have available. You might want to consider geofencing. I've got a cool story about that I can tell you. I'm working with a client right now. You're probably familiar with the factory over in Rainbow City. Well, they also have a location in Gulf Shores. Unfortunately, it's off the beaten track. It's not where it gets a lot of drive-by visibility, and they're trying to figure out how to reach moms with school-age kids to tell them how to connect with them to schedule birthday parties. And I told them very simply, you have to go to them. You have to make that personal invitation to those moms. So we're in the process of geofencing the carpool lines at all of the Baldwin County elementary schools with a personal invitation where not only you can go to their website, but you can go directly to the landing page to learn more about how to book your your child's next birthday party. Other things that are possible, for example, one of our clients here in Etowah County is Metro Bank. Their mortgage business is placing ads in specific areas of the county where there's a little more real estate activity. That helps them target their marketing towards a client that's more likely to spend money with them. I touched briefly on online video. If you're not familiar with that, if you go online and you're wanting to watch a specific video, you may have to watch somebody else's small 7 to 15 second video before you can see yours. Those are called online videos. The cool thing about those is those can be targeted. We can target by zip code, we can target by age group, demographics, income level, whether they have kids or not. So you're able to target your investment of your marketing dollars to reach a more qualified customer. An example that you may have seen locally is one of my clients is Long Furniture over in Rainbow City. If you've seen Daniel and his son Isaac, that's probably because you were targeted based on where you live, your income level, or the fact that you probably within the next year may need furniture for your business. Another good example of that is Nissan of Gadsden that's been on the air with me for over 20 years. We've all gotten to see his daughter grow up, but they do a really nice job with their online video. Search is another way you can reach customers. It's one of those tools that helps replace what used to be the phone book. If somebody's looking for your product or services, most likely they're going to pull up their smartphone, do a Google search, look through Google, Yahoo, or Bing to try to find what product or service they're looking for. You need to make sure you have a presence there. Your competitors probably do already, and if you do not have a presence on a search platform, we probably need to talk. One of the other cool things that is available nowadays is called retargeting. You may have been online and been shopping for a pair of hunting boots, or maybe it was a piece of sports equipment, or maybe it was something for the kitchen or the home, and it seems like everywhere you go online for the next 30 days, you keep seeing that same product pop up. It's called retargeting, and that's something that we do. We can supply to our customers a pixel that they put on their website, so when visitors come to them, when they leave, they take that pixel with them. It just automatically transfers for the next 30 days. You're going to remind them about your product or service. Another thing that's important nowadays in retail marketing is knowing where your money is being invested and how it is being invested effectively. We have our own dashboard which tracks the visits to your website, but not only that, it tracks where they came from. It also tracks how many times they've been to your website. You can look at your investment that you're making within the community and find out who's seeing your ad, who's watching the videos, how long they're staying on the videos, so you know that your dollars are being invested effectively. In today's marketing, there's a lot of people that have different features and benefits that they like to sell. We have those too, but it's more important for us for you to know why. Most of our clients have been somewhere at a dinner party or cocktails with friends, and somebody's told them, you really need to be doing geofencing, you need to be doing online video, you need to be doing search, but nobody really takes the time to explain why. And that's something that here at Spectrum we're actually particularly good at, and we'll help you understand all these different platforms and why it's important to you. So now that you got your website ready, and you're ready for retail, and you're looking for future marketing ideas, take a few minutes, try to determine who your core customer is, who's most important to the success of your business, and make sure you find someone to help you with your digital marketing to get that invitation out. Having your website ready is important, but don't forget to invite people to come in and spend money with you. I've talked to many clients who spend a lot of money, a lot of time and effort to build a great website, but they forget the most critical step of inviting people to come in and shop with them. Thanks, Will.
You guys want to go through for any kind of question and answer for Amy and Christy, for any of those?
If they have any questions, sure.
Let's see. Hey, Christy and Amy, if you guys can hear me online, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute and ask a question and comments, feedback you might have.
Thanks.
I see we just had Sandy Jeffer just join on. Sandy, do you have any questions or comments you'd like to make? Is there any questions you might have about your online commerce with Model Ts? Okay, awesome. Well, if you guys don't want any questions, I'll put Rick's contact information as well as Spectrum Reach's contact information on the chat right there for y'all.
I've got a question about smaller.
So that first one was to Plex Media's listing with us at the chamber, and the second was Spectrum Reach. If you have any questions at all about this, feel free to give them a shot. I know we had some conversation here in person, so if either Rick or Glenn could take the mic over there while we kind of have this round table with Carl. Any questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering, with Shopify, there's so much on there, how do you distinguish yourself from the scamming? Things on there. I went and bought a DeWalt tool recently, and next thing I know, my Facebook feed is covered up with people who are selling on Shopify, but there's like $5,000 worth of DeWalt tools for $500. And you click on it, it's obviously a scam of some sort. How do you battle that to make yourself not get caught up in all the scammy looking stuff that's on there? So that's why I've never even clicked on anything Shopify after that, because everything I had seen on it seemed so too good to be true, and scammy type stuff.
You wanna take that first, or you want me to?
I think that fits year round. It's pulling them out, that's where you target them, right?
The first thing that I would check is make sure they have a legit website and address. And I can give you an example of this. My wife and daughter were looking to buy a miniature Schnauzer puppy online. This has been about a month ago. And you would be surprised how many places had just a picture and a place for you to send a deposit to. And what we learned quickly is people will actually take a picture and post it online, and they don't have that property. All they have is the picture, and they want you to make a deposit, down payment of some sort. If you have any indication that it's not legit, first thing to do is check, make sure they have a true website, okay? And make sure it's mobile friendly and it's set up. And the next thing to do, if you really have a question and you're dealing with an individual, see if they'll let you FaceTime them, have a real-time video. Because that way you know that it's a real person, real product, and they're probably not gonna agree to a FaceTime video if they don't have that problem.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty common thing, specifically in the world around Facebook. When a business doesn't have a legitimate site, there's some trust built around some foundation, right? It used to be the brick and mortar, now it's the virtual brick and mortar.
Right.
Like having at least a simple site to show your legitimacy and saying something about yourself and about your business and why you do business, having your why story in there.
Yeah.
Legitimize it. It's hard to do that on Facebook.
Yeah.
I think Roger hit something too to me, and I'm probably a little more sensitive to it, is I do look at the design. And if I see shoddy work on the design, that's gonna just immediately turn me off. I don't know if I'm probably a little atypical, because I look at designs of sites, habitually, I'm always evaluating, I like that. Most of the time it's ideas, and making notes, but I also know when things have been done hurriedly, when they're not professional, when they look amateurish. Now, that doesn't do a whole lot, but you mentioned the domain. Does it have a legitimate domain? Or are they, a lot of times everything you need to know about scams is revealed in the domain, whether it's a phishing email or a phishing site.
Right.
And it sounds like you probably found someone who led you into
More
a phishing type site.
I was curious, because all I did, I searched for, DeWalt tools.
Yeah.
And then I went to Lowe's and bought the one I wanted after I'd done my research. And then all of a sudden, all of my feeds are full of people trying to sell DeWalt tools. And it'll be like DeWalttools.shopify.com or whatever, and you click on it, and they're trying to sell, there's no way on earth they can sell you a truckload of DeWalt tools for $100.
And this will be partially a little bit outside our conversation.
Yeah.
But if you use Yahoo, Gmail, or Hotmail, right? A lot of times those are actually reading your emails and serving you other, it could actually be because you went online, actually placed an order with Lowe's, and I do that myself all the time. And now all of a sudden you got some AI reading your email going, oh, he's looking for that. And And it could actually be your email provider
And
too.
it could,
It could come from a lot of places.
and it could be if you actually went to Lowe's and somebody was geofencing that location and they started serving you ads because you're a potential client. But you also touched on something, we're tag certified on a national level, which means that our clients that we represent, they know that they are tag certified in every media that we put their information out on. So they're not gonna end up in a compromised situation that their product or service is advertised somewhere they wouldn't want it to be.
Yeah, that's something that would be good for anybody that's buying digital marketing, to look up tag certification, to see what someone has to go through to actually get that certification, because it is very difficult.
Right. And you'd be surprised, it's not apples to apples in different type of online media. I have seen some things by some smaller providers that is a fraction of what we offer, but it's packaged in a way that it looks attractive.
Yeah.
Good question.
Okay, any questions online? So. I didn't hear that.
You know, it's funny too, the way and I touched on the retargeting, the way that works is if anybody within your household that you share a data plan with, searches online for something, everybody else that shares that same data plan can get those same ads. The example I use is I've been somewhere where I've been one side of the event center and my wife was somewhere else and she was shopping for stadium accounts on the other side, and my phone just starts blowing up. People trying to sell me stadium seats.
It's been recorded, of course. So I just recorded and post later to our Facebook page, our YouTube page later today or tomorrow. When John has that done. So if you have questions, just see those links in the chat there, Sandy, or watch the video over again. I'm sure that Spectrum will talk to you, love to talk to you. But I know you're the last one to call, so we're gonna wrap up with this month's Sales and Marketing Council. So Sandy, thank you for tuning in. I know we had a couple of our other folks already dropped off, but have a great week, Sandy, and make sure you watch that recording.